Hey everybody, welcome to Andy's Free Guitar Chart videos here. Welcome to my YouTube subscribers and Facebook groups friends. We're going to be moving along this morning. Have a chart. It's actually chart 434, but I labeled it 433. Been having a little bit of trouble because I'm making the charts on my older computer and then moving them over through the OneDrive to the new computer. So we have three charts that were, that couple of charts led up to this chart. Okay, so we have, this is chart 432, where we were talking about the other day, these half chord positions. So the focus of this chart is half chord positions. Okay, so we've all seen something similar to this in guitar theory, where we have the modes. Okay, and each of the modes can go, in different ways. Perhaps it'd be better not to get involved with the modals. But so we have this chart, and then we have this one, okay, which is the new 433 half chord positions, major minor caged relationships. Okay, so in this chart, but we're still not going to be really focusing on this chart because I went ahead and made one more, which is 434, but it's just labeled 433 by accident because I didn't get the other charts up on the same sheet of music. But it's very important to understand in this chart caged half chord relationships, for instance with the C and the A minor. Okay, so as we can see, I got my soda this morning. As we can see, the C and the A minor in the word cage goes C-A-G-E-D. So C goes to A. Doesn't matter if it goes to an A major or an A minor. My little dog has to settle down. So right there, we see a lot of similarities when we're trying to play an easy chord like the C chord. And by the way, the C modal set, okay, C-shaped modal set is, now this is down tuned, so this C is actually like an A flat, but same thing, C-shaped C. The modal set is easier, right? It's C, D, E minor, and then to F. Well, it's an E-shaped F, so we bar it, and then we go back to open with the G-shaped G. So the C is the easiest one. And there's A minor, and there's a half diminished there, and then we're back to C there. Right? We're going to have a lot of the lesson talk about how to make it those half diminished easy. So we got that to come later. But the first relationship we want to understand is that the C and the A minor are related in the word caged. C goes to A in the word caged. So we've got C going to A, which means its relative sixth when we go well, let's look at this little diagram here. When we go this way, okay, to the left, all right, we're going the word caged. C but these are buddies. E and E is buddies, and C and C are buddies. So it's C, A, G, E, D. That's the word caged. When you go the other way, when we start at root, and then to the Dorian, to 2 minor, 3 minor, 4 major, 5 major, 6 minor, 7th half diminished, it goes in a pentatonic increasing scale in the key of C. C, D, E. Okay, then we have an E-shaped, an E major, which is just a half step, and then we're back to G, A, C. So it's C, D, E, G, A, C. A pentatonic scale is the word caged backwards and vice versa. So I asked myself, what's the most important concept I can get across to people? This is it. that there's a pentatonic scale going to the left in these cages, okay? So this is the D is down here, and then the E minor is the next one down the whole cage with the other notes masked out. And of course, we have our relatives. And this is very important, especially in half chords. But in the C box, there's zero sunk. There's no sunken chords. In other words, if we have a C shape here, it doesn't matter where you play it, where the capo is. So right here, C shape. Okay, it's actually a C-shaped A flat. But this is fundamental in guitar, you know. If you just play action fingers, you go like this. Here's your C. Okay? Doesn't matter where you play it. But it does if you want the open strings to be part of, you know, to sound good, to be members of the scale, and to be members of that triad, or at least it's pentatonic. Okay? So D minor would be kind of defaulting on up to the fourth pentatonic, like that. Alright, otherwise a D minor would just be like that, which would be an inversion of the C, which is what it is. If you play a pentatonic from the second, you're getting that inversion of the basic root pentatonic. Okay, so we're not going to get into that today. So the important thing to realize is with these half chords, when you take when you're in the C box, we can play the whole thing. We can play the A minor as usual. But when we sink that C down, where does that occur? That occurs in the E box. So over here, let's look at the E box. And the first is way over here, because the second last one's covered, right? C, A, G, E, fourth one. First thing to remember, what we had talked about before, was that the word cage is C, A, G, E. This is just doubled, so now it's tripled because it's doubled. D. So it's C, A, G, E, D. Or a pentatonic scale, E, G, A, C, D, and E again. Okay, so those are the modal shapes in the E box. Now, if I bar this, well, it's difficult. It's difficult to bar it because the G minor shape is a difficult shape to play, especially if it's barred. And I'm not an expert at playing those particular chords. I've seen videos of them, and I was like, yeah, that's the answer. Wasn't the answer for long, because I couldn't remember how to play that G minor arpeggio. You know, it's hard to play that chord, and all too often the experts are just saying, well, I'm going to play a wicked solo on the G minor and play like 2 or 3 of those notes of those strings out of 6. We want the whole thing. So it was better to go to 7th chords, because once we just want to work with the little playable hand-sized, this is hand-sized cages here. If you add the 7th, which is where the paint splat is, then we can get the 7th chord. So let's look. Let's look. So this would be our E shape, E over here. Okay. Now the D minor shape. Okay, and the 7th would be like this. Okay, the D minor shape now is actually playable up top 3 strings right here. 3, 6, root, Now this is